Guys, I cannot wait to dive into these markets. We're going to be getting going here in just a few minutes. Everybody hit that like button. Retweet this if you're watching on Twitter. We're going to be getting going here in just a moment. Let's get... We're about to get this going, everybody. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, and make sure you retweet this. Let's get it. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream. I'm streaming to you live from my living room. I am still super jet lagged, still a little bit sick. So I decided to stream from the house today. So if I'm a little coffee, I apologize, but I'm here for you. We got to talk about what's going on in these markets because it is over. The bull run is over. It's absolutely crashing. Everything is done. That's absolutely the wrong thing to consider. We've been talking about this as soon as this broke past this $65,000 mark that we can see zooming in here. This weekly close, closing above the $65,000 mark. I talked about this on Sunday night. I actually talked about this about 3 weeks ago, the potential of this pushing up into the zone and getting a little bit of a washout down before this resolved and continued back into the upside. So what we're seeing right now is as expected. So if you're watching here on the YouTube stream, there is a poll that is up there currently, and it says, does this chop to the downside scare you? Said, yes, I'm numb to it, or bring it, I want lower. None of you so far have said yes, so congratulations. You've made it this far in the crypto market to realize you don't need to be fearful of price action doing the work that it needs to do before it can resolve to the upside. We've got to build a healthy staircase, and we have some of the signs and signals. For instance, if we come over here onto this chart and we look at this, we have some of the signs and signals that we want to see. One of those things is this higher low. Not only do we have the higher low that we've been talking about, this was followed by finally a higher high, a trend change in the making. It's not fully changed yet. This is the trend change in the making based on this low, whatever this low is, whether this is the low, 62.5, or if we get even down here into the 59s or even anywhere really arguably above $52,800 because this is that low here. So long as we don't make a low below this, we are golden. As it stands right now, I don't think we're going to get all the way down into the zone, but considering everything going on in the world right now, the fact that we just had the longshoremen go on strike, the fact that we have everything going on with Iran and Israel, what's going on with Lebanon, what's going on with the election that's coming up. There's a lot on the table right now that's basically allowing the markets to have certainty, and then immediately that certainty is rugged and we get these moments of uncertainty. So we're waiting a little bit on a little bit of either consistency with what's happening, because people become numb to even terrible things. And I'm not speaking about this with a lack of compassion or a lack of heart. I'm speaking about this in perception of when we're looking at the markets. People become numb to something when it is consistent. We've been at war, I guess technically we have, but there's been a war going on with Ukraine and Russia since back when I was at Crypto Jeb is when it started. That was February 3 years ago. So that has become something that people are numb to, but the escalations of what we're seeing with what's happening in Israel and Lebanon and, activating a little bit with what's going on with Iran, then recatalyzes this fear of, global war. And we're seeing a little bit of that uncertainty play out in the markets. So as it stands, though, if we're just looking at the charts and we ignore everything outside of that, everything outside of the price action here, we've been consolidating since March 13th, this high that we had here at $73,800, consolidating sideways for about 7 months coming in here. Look at this. That's 203 days. 202 days. Well, if we consider what happened last summer, remember, this actually happened. If we take it from this point here all the way across, 211 days. If we take it from the top, let's take that across, about 194, basically roughly plus or minus 10 days of 200. The summertime last year saw a huge amount of chop, which ranged about $7,000. See that? About 61 to $6,100 to $7,000 chopping up and down across for about 200 days. Now, what we're seeing now is the ranges are a little bit larger. If you take it from this point here all the way down, that is a $20,000 drop. The price is much higher. But we're seeing the consolidation, the same structural sort of shape as we saw last summer. We're coming right into that box. If we come up here into this chart as we see, no, it's this one right here, my bad. This zone that I've had, this block that we're seeing from this point to this point, which I measured based on that measurement that I've seen the last two cycles, roughly about 160 to 170 days post-halving is when we started seeing resolution to the upside, which in both cases happened to be roughly about October. So this is showing that we've entered that time frame that we are looking for a pump to likely happen. Now we've pumped into this zone. Does this mean we're up and away? This is what I'm trying to get through all of our heads, even my own. When I talk to you, I want you all to know I'm not talking at you. I'm talking to myself as well. I've got to reassure myself. I've got to remind myself of the tools and strategies that are available, and also remind myself the fact that we didn't break through here doesn't mean that the opportunity for the bull run is gone. It means that the price is doing the work. So we've come up into the zone. We're getting a necessary pullback because what have we talked about? This is all over in the BitLab Academy courses that we have as well. We always want to see rise, retrace, continuation, retrace, continuation, a little bit of chop, maybe a bit of a drop, continuation. But you want to see this stair-step pattern built to have healthy structure to the upside. So with that being said, what we're seeing right now is this sort of rounding, right? We have a low, lower low, now higher low. There's a bit of an inverted head and shoulders potentially that is formed here. But in addition to that, what we're really most focused on is this structure right here. We have the higher low followed by the higher high. The higher high, boom, that doesn't mean it's up and away. We got to watch for where this pulls back into. Now, do I think it's going to come back all the way down in here into the 51,000? It could. But this would also mean that we'd now broken another low. So what I'd really be looking for, we can actually move this box now. I'd move this box somewhere about like this. Let's go ahead and delete this line as well. Let's delete that line. Boom. Delete this line. Boom. There we go. And we can see that this is the zone that we're really trying to, if we pull back, this would be the optimum place to pull back right here, about $60,700. This previous range high right here, which we've almost gotten down to. We've gotten down to about 61.9. This would mean we could look for another about $1,000 to have the optimum pullback, because you don't want this to just run away. If this just runs away, you get what's known as an inefficiency in the price structure on the market, and price action will then, if we have this massive move to the upside, you're going to have a pretty big correction move back to the downside, wrecking more people. Let's let this healthy stair-stepping continue, because everything is looking good. We got some really good things that we want to cover today, and I do want to just say shout out to everybody that is here. If this is your first time, my name's Kelly Kellum. Welcome to the BitLab Academy stream. We're streaming to you not from the BitLab studio today. We are streaming to you from my living room home with a little bit of a sickness, still jet lagged from Singapore and just trying to catch up. And I thought I'd save myself the 25-minute drive into work and just do it with you right here. So if you can get behind that, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. And if you're watching on Twitter, make sure that, I'm going to pull it up real quick, make sure that you are retweeting the live stream, which is right here. It's on my page. We're here at Kelly Kellum. Retweet this, hit that retweet, hit that like button. I've already retweeted it from my BitLab Academy page. You are entered to win. Could be money, could be merchandise, could be a tether. We do all kinds of different giveaways. We do it at the end of each week. Now, getting into what we want to talk about today, let's go ahead and look at the market. 62.4 for Bitcoin, 2,500, still holding above 2,500 for Ethereum. Tether, thank God, is still right around 99 cents to $1. BNB 563, Solana 150, still hovering in that region. We're not seeing that too big of drops or gains, but we are seeing FTX. Why would FTX token be pumping? And this is not something in any way I would even speculate on trading the volatility on this, because FTX token is still, right now it's in the news because the big cash disbursements should be going out here in the near future. I know there's a court case on October 7th, which is going to help determine some of the final dealings on that. But Popcat's up 5%. Eigenlayer, an excellent storage coin there on Cardano, up almost 6%. Helium up 4%. Phantom up 3%. What of our losers here? Jasmy down 7%. WorldCoin. Remember, WorldCoin was pumping the last couple of days, and now it's taking a little bit of a you can see this right here. A bit of a pump up, and it's been kind of bleeding down. EOS, I didn't even know EOS was still doing anything, down 7%. Lido, down about a little over 7%. Arweave, we're seeing just sort of neutrality in the market, because look at this. On the weekly, we're getting a lot of big gainers. On the daily, we're starting to see a lot of red in the chart. FTX looking good. And the hourly, there's a lot of red in the chart. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to dive into some of the technical analysis. And I've got some coins that I'm going to be sharing with you all here in a little bit that show that the whales have been absolutely piling into. So it could be a good incentive to do a little bit diligence on any of these coins that maybe you're not deeply aware of, maybe you're on the fence about, but I like to follow the money. And when big money's putting money in places, I like to say, okay, are they saying something I'm not? Because, think about Nancy Pelosi making big trades in the stock market. It tends to always front run a big decision that either makes that price pump or dump. She seems to always be ahead of it. So think of her as a good analog for a whale in the crypto market. Sometimes people have inside knowledge. Sometimes people are paying attention to data that you're not privy to. And so I like to watch where the whales are putting their money. We're going to be getting to that here in a little while. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We got 181 people in the room right now between Twitter and YouTube. We got 17 likes. Everybody hit that like button. And if you're watching on Twitter, even if you're not going to restream, even if you're not going to retweet, even if you don't want to participate in free content that's coming to you, that you're sitting here watching, what's wrong with you? Hit that retweet button. But if you're not willing to do that because you're just a curmudgeon and your mother didn't raise you right, hit that little heart button, show some love. It lets these different content platforms know that you like this type of content. Now, coming in here, we got to talk about this. This is one of those things that we were just mentioning. And that is the Kobayashi letter just highlights it's officially begun. Over 50,000 port workers, these are known as longshoremen, across the United States are now on strike for the first time since 1977. These ports handle nearly 40% of all U.S. imports and could cost the U.S. up to $5 billion per day. So what does it mean for the economy? For some background, port workers are on strike because of a failed contract negotiation. Now, to be fair, I think this is an absolute crock of shit. Why is that? Because they're in negotiations. I don't care if you like unions or not. This is fucking stupid. And I'm sorry I have to say it. They were already offered a 40% pay increase and they're holding out for 70%. That's bullshit. Maybe you're mad that your jobs are going to be, automated away, but that's the nature of how technology goes in this world. You are either going to figure out how you can navigate into something or learn how to manage those automated machines or not, but you can't say, oh, I want a 70% increase. What about the rest of the world? Now, here's the deal. I will take a little bit of a softening stance on that in that longshoremen and the trade that happens globally is really on the backs of all these hard workers, labor that are at these ports, loading and unloading these boats and docks and making sure these shipments of imports and exports happen. And that's how our livelihood works. But a 40% increase in pay that is offered and you walk away from it, shutting down right in the middle of the time that we're seeing this issue in the North Carolina and South Carolina and Florida and East Georgia with this basically people dying, this catastrophe that's happened from Helene. Go on strike, but go on strike next month. You don't need to do it while you have all I'm sure a lot of goods are going to be needed to be shipped into those ports to help those people. And on that note, where is our government? Why is only a candidate for president the one that's stepping up and showing up to all these places? I don't know. I don't mean to make this political, but this is just starting to really grind my gears. So with that being said, also, we can see the current ILL contract union has members making 20 to 37 an hour. I don't know what this is. I know a number of people that do this and they make about 50 plus an hour. Depending on seniority, a longshoreman can make between 150 and 250 annually under current contract terms. Port insiders say the ILA is targeting an increase larger than 30% over 6 years. That's not the data I got. Longshoreman negotiations. 40%, 70%. Let me see if I can find this one. Boom. Now, according to news sources, US MX responded with an offer of 40% in wage increases, but the union rejected it, calling it a joke. They're demanding 77% pay rise over 6 years. Come on. It's just outrageous. But who am I to say? I'll call myself out. Who am I to say I'm not there doing that job? I give a lot of credit to these folks because they were working all through COVID. But at the end of the day, workers across the board need pay raises, not just longshoremen. Minimum wage hasn't rise for I don't know how long, and we see how much the cost of living has gone up. So this is something that we need to pay attention to as it relates to what's going on in markets. This could be it's not a black swan because we've been aware of this, but this could be something that could cause a little bit of uncertainty and some downward pressure on markets in the short term, in the near term. But I do think this will get resolved. Now, moving on, getting more into other economic news, US ISM Manufacturing Employment Index shows actual is 43.9, estimated was 47. This means this is going down. What the hell does this mean? Remember, everybody, I want to just encourage you all. We all have all the tools and everything we need at our disposal to learn these things. In this case, let's throw into ChatGPT. I said, how does US ISM Manufacturing Employment Index impact markets? Well, the US ISM Manufacturing Employment Index is a component of broader ISM Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index, PMI, which tracks employment trends in the manufacturing sector. It is a key economic indicator, and its impact on financial markets can be significant. Why? Impact on stock markets, positive, which is basically increasing, which we're not. We're on the negative, but positive or rising employment index in the ISM shows an increase. It suggests more hiring in the manufacturing sector, which is often viewed as a sign of economic strength. Negative, which is what we have right now, a decline in the index may signal economic slowdown or weakness in the manufacturing sector, which can cause market pessimism. So we're wondering, why is the market being a little pessimistic right now? Why is it not just absolutely ripping? Well, if you look at, let's actually come over here. If you come over here and look at the S&P to Bitcoin, you can see the S&P 500 has been absolutely ripping So we are at new all-time highs. So this is not something we have to strike today. We may not see this now. We have to be a little cautious where we're at right now with price action, because this has been ripping to the upside as price action has been flat and slightly to the downside on Bitcoin. If the stock market does start to have downward pressure, Bitcoin still trades like a risk asset. Maybe it's on the cusp of flipping over. And I honestly think you should not trade it like a risk asset. Let me take that back. You should not invest in Bitcoin like a risk asset. Yes, I think you should. If you're trading it, you should trade it like a risk asset. The difference is most people think when they buy Bitcoin, you're a trader. No. Most people think when you buy Bitcoin, you're an investor. No. It's determined based on what your time horizon is and your ability to withstand volatility or trade the volatility. That's what determines whether you're an investor or a trader. So the reason I say that is if the stock market does start to pull back, we may have a little bit of downward pressure or suppressive pressure on potential upside for Bitcoin in the near term. So let's just pay attention to what's happening here, because while everything is lined up, and I'm going to show you some data that's super bullish here in just a second, because I am a bull, but we have to be cautious. Let's be cautious first, and then we can look to what the optimistic signals are. Now, coming on, let's exit that out. I think this is what I wanted here. Yeah. Where'd it go? No. Is this what I wanted? Yeah. So I still expect the same. Usually the first week, this is actually what I wanted. Yeah. Usually the first week of the month is bearish for Bitcoin as unemployment data kicks in. I'm expecting the same, in which the zone between 60.5 thousand and 61.5 thousand is the support on this notion before we break off. This is the exact same level that I just pointed out right here on the chart. When we come over here to Bitcoin, it's this level right here, this $60,800, which is right in that equilibrium between those 2 points that he was outlining, 60.5 and 61.8. So about $61,000 plus or minus $500. That's what we're looking at on the bullish case of a pullback before liftoff. So, and we're coming in, we've just had the first day. We're in October. Can you get behind it? I'm super excited about October, but we're not going to lose sight of the forest for the trees because we're getting a little pullback. We've expected this pullback, and we know what to do. If you all have been watching this channel for any amount of time, more than 3 days, if you feel like I've been sharing my insights, I feel, and maybe I'm wrong as I could be, but I feel like the insights that I've been sharing have been pretty spot on this last year. The levels I've been calling, the breakdown points. Throw one in chat if you feel like if I've been giving you a pretty good direction as to the strategy and the ideas about how this market may move. Because I feel like I've been spot on. If I'm wrong, throw a 2 in chat. Hopefully we don't see any 2s. If we see any 2s, I'm going to have to go back through every video and recatalog everything and relearn. I feel like I've been giving you guys some pretty good direction here. Now, looking at what's going on, where we're at right now in this market, I said this, it's time to light the rockets. Those that have been riding the chop, stacking at any opportunity and looking forward to the gains, that time right now is upon us. How could I say that in a day where we're pulling back? Well, because the pullback was expected. The pullback is part of building that staircase to heaven. Stairway to heaven, I should say. Bitcoin will break $100,000 this year, says Bitcoin Archive, if it follows the average gains made after a green September candle. Projections, October, 80,500. Now, I'm wrong. I was wrong. I made a claim. I said it was possible that we could get that move up to about I think it was $83,000 by the end of September. I was wrong on that one. I did do that with a caveat, though, and it had to do with some of the things going on economically. Unfortunately, all those caveats hit, so we didn't hit that. Now, October is based on the projections of what we've seen, the average gain in October, 25%, will put us at $80,518, followed by November, just shy of $90,000, and December at about $106,000. So I'm very bullish. The data, historical data, is suggesting that we're going to have a good time here. We're seeing I got more data here. Don't worry. We got some more bullish data, and all of it's supportive of this bullish idea. This is October's. Let's zoom out on this a little bit. So historically, Bitcoin kicks off a parabolic run every October following the halving. We just had that halving April 19th. So here's the halving, here's the halving, here's the halving. Okay, now look, October 1st, October 1st, October 1st, October 1st. What do we see? The start, I mean, look at this. We pull back into this to actually have the breakout of this bull flag to take off. Bull flag, take off. Little bit of a, not quite a bull flag, but a little correction into this move. Boom, take off. Look, correction into this date. Even if we dipped a little bit from here, the end of October, I do think we're going to be seeing prices much higher. And this is just a repeating pattern. I think I even said it. Rinse, repeat. Let's go. October. If you agree with this, go ahead and share that chart with your friends and family. Let them know everything is on schedule. Now, I feel like my chair is really low. Hold on a sec. Because my mic was like in my throat. I'm like, there we go. That's a little bit better. Now, continuing on, what do we see? The data, bullish data, is mounting. I don't know why I said that. I don't double check my writing sometime. But this is what we're talking about. When we've had a green September, we've had 1, 2, 3 green months following. Green September, 1, 2, 3 green months following. Green September, 1, 2, 3 green months following. So it ends up being 4 green months. Are we in for the same thing? I think it is very likely, but we've got to be a little cautious because of everything going on geopolitically and what's going on with the strike and there's a lot at play here. But in addition to all this, what could get us there? Well, there's that chart. What could get us there? It's this. As predicted, $2.35 billion bank bailout, stealth QE in progress, quantitative easing, money into markets. So it's not always just this idea of money printing to inject into global markets or into equities. Sometimes it's, a bailout of a bank. That alleviates a lot of tension. And we're seeing this right here. Look at this, $2.35 billion. Overnight repurchase agreement, Treasury securities purchased by the Federal Reserve in the temporary open market. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to find it right here, but this is, I think Raul Paul. I think Raul. Here we go. Let me see if I can find it really quick, because this is why this is so important. I know he shared this the other day. Give me 1 second. Come on, man. When you're trying to find something and you just... Where is that data? It wasn't that far back. Maybe it was on Quentin Francois. Okay. There we go. I know he shared it. Let me see if I can find it real quick. This is just eye-opening, shocking data. And this is why the money printers have to turn on. As much as we say we don't want it, you do. I'm telling you, because if they didn't do it, the economy would absolutely, global economy would absolutely crash. God dang it, where is this darn chart at? I'll know it as soon as I see it because it's a unique looking chart. Let alone where we're at right here coming into the election. Look what happens after. Hold on, guys. We're getting there. We're getting there. Where the hell is this chart at? When you're looking for something and you just can't stand to, you just got to find it, because I know it's here. I feel like I'm so invested now. I'm finding this chart. We could do it. If we get 30 more likes, I know we'll find it. Come on, baby. Man, I'm back to September 17th. I don't know where it's at. I'm going to find it, damn it. Come on, baby. It's funny. I've seen this chart every day on people's timelines for the last week, and now I can't find it. It's just drives you crazy. I don't know where it's at. Essentially what it is, it's a chart showing the amount of bank debt compared to 2008. I don't see it anywhere. All right, well, that's an absolutely epic failure. Absolute epic failure. But we'll move on from there. We'll move on from there. I don't even know what I just did with that last chart. But all in all, we all want to see it. You know what? I want to see it too. I don't know where it is. Who else would have shared it? Eric Baltunas. I know exactly what the chart looks like. That's why I can scroll so fast in it, because it doesn't look like any of these other charts. God damn it. Now I feel like I have to find it. Yeah, I can't find it. That just pisses me off. God dang it. Bank. It's an astronomical. It's a very scary chart to see, because what we're seeing with the amount of debt and liabilities banks have compared to 2008 is an exponent. It's a factors larger, worse predicament that we're in now. And so while we're seeing the S&P 500 push up, but now we're starting to see, I just deleted that tweet, but we're starting to see the printing for bank bailouts, basically buying back treasuries and stuff, because they don't have money. They don't have, what a lot of people don't realize is during COVID, March of 2020, they pushed an amendment through during that, kind of under the radar because so much was going on, which makes me think COVID was more about this than it even had to do with any sort of illness. They changed the ruling. The Fed changed the ruling for banks need to have fractional banking, meaning if you have $100 million, they had to have at least $10 million on hand, basically as reserves. They changed that in March of 2020 to zero. Banks are required to hold zero collateral, 0% collateral for the money that they have. They go out and loan it, lend it, try to make money on it, do all. They have zero backing for the money that you have in that bank. This is one of the reasons why Bitcoin is so important, because it's audited every 10 minutes by every miner on network, and every miner on network has to agree on every transaction that's ever happened, and there's no faking it. It's all real Bitcoin that's utilized. Now it's starting to get a little interesting now that we have Bitcoin spot ETFs, but now we're also getting derivatives and options on those ETFs. So we're going to start to enter some of the same paradigm that we saw with the traditional banking system, but Bitcoin is still a hell of a lot better. Now, when we're talking about Bitcoin, and we talk about this level that we've discussed right in here, this zone, this 60,300 up to about $60,300 up to about $61,000. This sort of box. Let's put a little box here. It's basically right here. This is where I expect Bitcoin to come back to have a bounce to push up. If it doesn't get there, great. Sorry, you couldn't see the screen. If it doesn't get down into this box, that's okay. If it holds here, just pushes up here, taps on this, it breaks through. I'm not going to be mad at that, but I'm prepared for Bitcoin to come down in here. And again, if it loses this, what do? I look to that next level down, which is basically right here, about $56,000. If we lose this, I'm looking for this zone. But this is where I think we'll likely get the bounce. I think we'll kind of work our way down into here, clear out some of the open interest, and then the price action will likely get pushed up. Veteran Crypto, what's up? Shout out to all the vets out there. For those of you that don't know, I am a U.S. Air Force veteran, medically retired in 2004, 2005, something like that. But this is still looking so incredibly bullish for what we're seeing in the charts. If we come down here and we put on the traditional metrics, let's double click. See how this is all stretched out? You don't need to come here and go like this. You can just double click. It automatically pulls it into visible range. Now, if you come out here to the weekly, look at this MACD. It's not quite there yet, but it's inching back up. It has some work to do, may come down a little bit more. But once this crosses back above, let's look at this on the MACD. Option V, last several times that this crossed over. Now, let's look at the price action. This had a good ways to the upside. I mean, this was the start of that trend. This crossed, but it still fell a little bit. But this was in the middle of a bear market. But then, boom, look at this crossover. Hold on a second. Why was there a line there? I don't know. But, I mean, even if you had bought here when this crossed, you would have had to hold a little bit. But from this point up into this top, that's a 200% gain, right? The point being is the trend is starting to shift. Money flow had a bit of a large impulse. It's come down and reset. We've seen this regularly when we come over here, and I've been sharing this with you all, this capital flow, that resetting of capital coming back, money flow up, capital flow coming back down to reset down here, just like we saw this many times. Look at how many times this reset. Boom. Look back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before we hit the top. This has only come down here and tapped this once so far. We have so much room to go in Bitcoin. Similarly, when we look at Ethereum, it's down here. Let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum is broken out of this little, let's go on the 4-hour time frame. Ethereum is broken out. There we go. Ethereum is broken out of this downtrend that we had. And we're getting that, yes, we got this move up right into all this chop zone. Coming back down right now. Let's delete the VPVR. Coming back down right now, but still holding within basically this sort of chop range where all of this price action chopped right in here. If this can hold here, that would be phenomenal. If this loses, then what I'm looking at is a zone. The next target down would be roughly about right here in the $2,400 range. So we still have opportunities that are presenting themselves if this doesn't just take off. In fact, I would argue every single one of us should be excited right now that the price doesn't just take off, because if we do get another bit of a drop to the downside, another opportunity before this takes off, I mean, we saw some of that data. If we come back over here, let's come back over to my page here. Actually, I'm not sure. Why is my... am I still streaming? Everybody throw a 1 in chat if you can see me. Let me know if you can see me and hear me. But we got a grip of people in the room. I'm just going to keep it on the chart. For some reason, the Twitter is not working. But the fact that we're seeing opportunity with this not just breaking out Ethereum, I think is going to be somewhere in the, I would say, $14,000 to $20,000 range of market cycle top. So if this gives us another opportunity right here and it drops from where we're at right now at 2,500, if this drops down another 3%, let's say you have 10 Ethereum. If you have 10 Ethereum, right, and you're able to pick up one more Ethereum, if this drops down here from $2,400 to $14,000, that is a massive gain. Now, I just want to show you why this is so important. This is so important. Okay, 2,400. I'm looking at the right side over here where the price is, making sure I'm at that zone. Okay, up to about 14,000. Let's do 14,500. That is 500% gain. Now, if you have 3%, what's 3% of 14,000? Let's go ahead and do the math. 14,500 times 0.03. That is, no, that's not right. 14 times 14. 1% of would be 140. Yeah, so it's $435. $435 times 10. Sorry, I'm still a little sick. My brain's a little cloudy. That's a $4,350 difference on a 3%. If you lose 3% versus gain, take a 3% opportunity, getting 3% more. So everything we're doing right now is having a multi-$1,000 effect, even if you have a medium-sized bag. If you have a large bag, it could be in the tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars. So when we're looking at this and we see Ethereum is not breaking out, it's dead. No, it's not dead. You're just not being patient because everything is setting up for one of the most epic bull runs in history. Now, when we look at ETH to BTC, it's been trading in this range since back here in 2022, September 2022, just cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. And now coming in right now into this sort of support range that goes all the way back here to March of 2020. If we're able to hold this and push up from here, this is going to be epic. Now, if this does drop further, I'm going to take a deeper opportunity. I'm going to take a better opportunity because we've got some incredible things lining up here in a second. And I do have some coins that I'm going to show you here in just a moment, some altcoins that whales have been stacking into. So if you can get behind that, if you want to see what those coins are, let's see. We've got, how many likes do we have right now? We got 46 likes. Let's get 25 more likes. I'm going to show you. Everybody hit that like button right now. Everybody on the YouTube or on X right now, make sure, why is this not loading? Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Make sure you're hitting that retweet. Only 6 of you suckers are, look at it. We got 259 of you watching on Twitter right now. Exit out of this, hit that retweet button, hit the like button, share some love. You get entered. Not only are you able to help support this type of crypto content, but you're also getting entered to win. We draw every Friday. So just participate because we got some really good, I got some coins I'm going to show you, altcoins whales are stacking into. Now, when we look at this with Bitcoin, we're coming into this zone. Let's actually go to a cleaner chart. We're coming into a zone right here. I'm going to delete this. Boom. This is that. I mean, I've had this marked out and this came down here and tapped this perfectly. Now, when we look at this other chart that we just drew with a little bit more precision, this is the area that we're watching for down here, $60,000 to $60,800. This is where I'm looking to take the next opportunity for a great buy for this before this moves to the upside. When we look at others, and this is going to be important because I'm about to show you some of those coins that the whales are stacking into. The others is already basically undergoing this trend change. We have the higher low followed by the higher high. And what are we getting? A pullback, which is what we are expecting to see. And it's come right back into the zone of this tops, these lows, this rejection, this rejection, this rejection. So basically, see this right here? Let's draw a box. Come on. So all of this rejection, 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 bounce, 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 rejection, rejection just above it, but we're kind of coming into the zone. Even if this came all the way back down and bounced right at this high, right here, down here, another basically $18 billion out of the market, which would mean some of your altcoins are going to be bleeding. But I'm telling you right now is the time to look for the ultimate last best opportunity before this market absolutely erupts to the upside, because there's so much bullishness going on with what we're seeing in these markets right now. And we covered it earlier, but let me see if we've got this, the bank bailouts coming in. We've got things like, let's go Titan. I know it was Ali Charts. Ali Charts shared a great chart. Where is it at? Right here. This is October. The October following the halving each year. Boom. Explosion. Look at this. October 1st. Explosion. October 1st. Explosion. We're just coming into that now. We're getting the sell-off into it, just like we saw here, just like we saw here, just like we saw here across it. Everything is lining up right now for that ultimate massive move to the upside. So with altcoins having a little bit of a pullback, we're getting that last best opportunity for max gains to the upside. So this is very exciting, and we consider when we're looking on the 3-day chart, let's actually go to the weekly chart, the liquidity levels. Now we have most of the liquidity is above us, not below us. Let me refresh this. Boom. Most of the liquidity is above us, not below us. We do have a little bit more room to go, I think. And if we don't get it, great. That means our portfolios are just rising. You mean I don't get another great opportunity? I'm already stacked. I don't need another opportunity, but if it presents, I will take advantage of it. Now, when we look at the DXY, this is something we have to pay attention to. This is a dollar index. This has fallen out of this trend that it's been in since essentially November 2022. In fact, you could call this a deviation. You could say it's all the way back here since July. But we just had this sort of symmetrical triangle, broke out bearish. Now we have a new low. If we do get a little rise here, this would also correlate with a little bit of a continued drop in Bitcoin for the next coming week or so, and then have that continuation to the downside. If this doesn't just break, if the bottom falls out from under this, then markets are going to absolutely rip. Now, which altcoins do you all think the whales are stacking into? List 3 of the altcoins you think whales are stacking into. Let's see who has got it right. Use this dip to buy more DAG. You know what? On that note, while you guys are listing altcoins that you think the whales are stacking into, I just want to highlight something. DAG has been crushing it. They are primed again that we are partners with DAG. So yes, we are partners with this protocol, with this organization. But it's something I only take partnerships with projects, utilities, and companies that I believe in. And the fact that they have, look at this. Data is the new oil. Constellation DAG is setting the standard with contracts with Department of Defense, Homeland Security, Defense Innovation Unit, Department of Treasury, NASA, FBI, Air Force. It's clear that the Constellation Network has an incredible established foundation of proven utility. They have been used by the Department of Defense in many of these various different contracts that they've had for the last several years. They're only now rolling out to retail, and they have a market cap of about $80 million. Do you realize how significant that is? It's worth, and this is strategy advice, not financial advice. It's worth when you see something that has such an established foundation, such an established track record of contracts, utility already enacted, and they're being audited by the Department of Defense. It doesn't mean any of your data, any of your security is being forked over. No, that's not the case. It's just showing that they have a proven track record. And when we come over here and we look at DAG, DAG is looking, where is this chart? DAG is looking like it is ready to just set the stage for that next absolute moonshot. Because when we look at this on the 3-day chart, boom, all-time high was up here just shy of 50 cents. We're at 2.7 cents right now. 2.7 cents right now, while we have a bottoming formation coming into this with this W pattern with a higher high into a bull flag. Once this breaks out of this is going to start moving very quickly. And they just had the hackathon. They just had 700 projects building out some incredible data utility. For instance, like you can use your car to map what's going on with the different cameras to sell that data to self-driving vehicles. So there's so many different things, and there's 700 different applications that were built within the metagraphs that are just about to explode into the retail market. So I'm telling you, take a look at Constellation DAG. I'm proud to be partners with them because they're doing some great things. Now, there you go. Veteran Crypto says DAG was solid during this dump. Yes, it was. Where's my... There we go. I'm going to just throw that up on stream, because it's not just me saying it. This is things going on. Now, what altcoins have the whales been stacking into? Let's take a look at it. And that is these right here. Injective, which I layered into a little bit last week. Wrapped Bitcoin, which we've talked about. One of the reasons why I'm so bullish on Aerodrome. Now, why the hell would I be bullish on Aerodrome from Wrapped Bitcoin? Because Coinbase now has Wrapped Bitcoin on Base. And to settle all those transactions, they'll be using Aerodrome to settle those transactions. So if you think Bitcoin DeFi is going to be anything at all, if you're invested in OrdiSwap or Runes or BitLayer or Nervos or any of those Bitcoin stacks, Bitcoin Layer 2 and Bitcoin DeFi opportunity plays, then you need to be paying attention to what's going on with Wrapped Bitcoin. And also, I would argue, also have some investment in Aerodrome. But we've seen a 456% rise in whale activity in Injective. This is in the last week. Wrapped Bitcoin, 421% rise. So big money is paying attention. Shiba Inu coin, I don't understand this, but I guess there's some big players out there that, this would be whales within the... You have to realize, not all of this is just Bitcoin whales. This is crypto whales. So this is whales within the Shiba Inu community. Whales saw 360% rise in the Shiba market. But MakerDAO, which is now rolled over to Sky, 147% increase. Pepe, 109%. Tether, 74%. Athena Labs, which we just saw with that integration with what they're doing with or utilization with what we're seeing with BlackRock, and of course Dogecoin. We want to pay attention as much. Maybe you love Shiba Inu and Doge, maybe you hate it. You have to understand that when we see Dogecoin and Shiba Inu really starting to pump, these kind of legacy meme coins, this starts to signal that it starts bringing retail back into the market. So we have to pay attention to this. And then of course Wrapped ETH and Optimism. So let's go ahead and take a look at several of these. Let's get over here. Let's look at Injective. How many of you out there are Injective holders? Shout out to anybody that's holding Injective. It's a awesome DEX protocol that provides liquidity to chains and different financial things within their protocol. So many big players and business to business projects and different protocols. A lot of big players utilize Injective. So it's worth paying attention to, even if it's been off your radar. I've tried to subtly put it on y'all's radar for quite some time, but look at this. Had this falling channel like many different coins has broken out of this W formation, higher high, coming back to test this sort of range. If this comes back a little lower, I'd be watching this sort of zone right in here. If this drops into basically about 2057 sort of range, but I'm watching this sort of zone for maybe a little bit of a chop before it continues to the upside. When we look at this, money flows back up. Stochastics having a little bit of a cool down. We're on the 3-day though. Let's go to the 4-hour. Let's go to the BitLab trading stack. Actually, it's a lot more clear. So yeah, so there's a play to this. Looks like a washout. Move up. Let's wash people out. Commit them short. Bear trap before continuing to the upside. So again, I'll be watching on this look. I'll be watching right here about 21.26 in this range, maybe as low as about 20.83 and potentially down here to that 20.57 that we talked about. But I do think this move is more of a washout before a continuation to the upside. What was another one? Wrapped Bitcoin. You don't need to look at a chart on that. That's just going to be Bitcoin. What was the next one on that? Shiba Inu. I don't tend to look at coins like this, but that's also my bias. And I apologize to any of you that love these coins. Let's actually go to an older chart. Let's go to Binance. Now let's go to the weekly. Double click here. All right. Now I want to overlay Ethereum. That doesn't give us much signal. I was hoping that we'd see a little bit of, let's be BTC, USD. So Bitcoin gets that rise. And then look at this massive pump, like massive injection. Same thing here. Bitcoin got the rise and then massive pump. We're not getting the Bitcoin rise yet, but we're getting a little bit of a pump up, kind of front running, because you have to understand this. Every cycle is slightly different. This cycle has a lot more meme culture in it because we didn't have that in 2017. Last cycle, the only memes we had was the only memes we had was Doge and Shiba Inu, and then it started progressively as the cycle went on. Then you started getting all these other memes that started to pop up, but this may be a front-running signal for that altcoin liquidity. Coming back to the others chart, we're seeing this starting to break out, and part of that could be, looking at Doge. Yeah, this kind of tracked it pretty right on. And this got a pretty big sell-off. I mean, that's a pretty big sell-off on Doge. Look at that. That's, let's see, to the wick, 64%. Starting to push up. This was just like it does here. When this does explode, I still expect, even though I'm not a huge fan of Doge, I think Doge can actually shock some people because it will likely be integrated into the X payments application or whatever they're doing, the X platform that they're building out. But also because Doge, the price discrepancy here, and the reason I say discrepancy is when new people come into this market, they're going to see Bitcoin at $62,000, Ethereum at $2,500, and they're going to go, oh, but Doge is 11 cents. Tron is 15 cents. Cardano is 36 cents. People buy these in some ways thinking they're going to hold this until it gets to this price point because they don't understand this circulating supply difference. Look at this, 19.7 million Bitcoin. Now look at Doge. Was at 146 trillion. Look at XRP, even 56 billion. Is that 100? Yeah. Then Tron, 86 trillion. Oh, wait, is that trillion or billion? Billion. 146, let's see. 10, 100 million. Yeah, billion. 146 billion coins. 146 billion versus 19 million. That is a multiple factor difference of the impact of what each coin does. So that's not a bad thing, but if you understand the tokenomics of these assets and realize that whales are stacking into some of these coins and realize that we are on the advent of this next major pump that's absolutely going to rip to the upside when new money floods in Bitcoin and Ethereum, a lot of the money that comes into this is going to be institutional, corporate, and big money, like larger players globally. I mean, like people with, wealthy individuals or very smart individuals like all of you, who are all going to be wealthy because of this. But the majority of the altcoin market, there will be some VC funding, sure. There will be some sporadic big money that gets injected here and there, but it's going to be a lot of the retail buying. And this is one of the things I had this, not argument, but this discussion with somebody the other day. Most of the technology that's in these different projects, this cycle doesn't matter. Some of you might hate me for saying that, but what's going to pump these projects is, can it make me rich? Do I like the memeability? Do I like the logo? Do I like the name? Have I heard other people talking about it? And so when you see, this coin does this many TPS, transactions per second versus this one, or this one has this much capacity per block, or this, it's in some ways it doesn't really matter. It does for some of the big money that can get behind pushing some of the marketing on it. But when you're seeing things that are established like Avalanche and Solana and Cardano and Ton is getting there, Telegram, the open network, Near protocol. What's going to set them apart is if the technology that they have starts to be actually utilized, applied, and brings in bigger money, brings money over from that larger bigger money pocket sort of deals where you start seeing allocations, or you start seeing an index fund for ETFs that has Bitcoin, Ethereum, Near protocol, Avalanche, Solana. If they're whichever are grouped in one of those first few index funds for publicly traded ETFs, those projects are going to absolutely melt to the upside. And it's hard to tell which ones they are, but Link would, I think, unquestionably be in that list. But you can kind of gauge, Bitcoin, Ethereum for sure. These will be probably the first ETF. And then there's going to be a basket ETF with Bitcoin. I'm talking about a grouping ETF with multiple assets. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then likely potentially BNB, maybe not because of the Chinese ties. Who knows? But Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana will very likely be in there. XRP, kind of on the fence about whether that will be in an ETF. But Avalanche will likely be in there because of a lot of the partnerships they have. And I still suspect they're going to have some incredible partnerships going into this cycle. Link will likely be in there. Polkadot, maybe because of all the interoperability near protocol. But what's coming in this market is just around this corner. Everything you've been waiting on. If you have a balanced portfolio, like the position portfolio I've been sharing with you all since February, we've been up, we've been down, but I'm not trading this. I've been showing you can buy and hold and add to positions to lower your average entry if it drops below, which we've been doing. We've been stacking into. Remember, we got into BitTensor late, and we're already up 74% because we made a smart play. I did some diligence. I did a video on BitTensor. I said, you know what? This looks so damn good. I'm glad I did this diligence. I'm going to buy some. And I continue stacking into it. And now we're up 74% since we entered this not that long ago. And BitTensor, by the way, is a DePIN play as well as an AI play because it is an infrastructure network for AI. So while it's also the AI narrative play, it's also riding the DePIN play. So I think this is an absolute must-have in portfolios. Ondo, absolute must-have in portfolios. I mean, every one that I have in my list. And you have to figure out based on what your portfolio is, what you're interested in, what you're willing to keep track of, what you're willing to do diligence on, because this market is about to rip. And I think going down this list, I think this has, probably a 7 to 12x. I think this probably also still has a 5 to 8x. I think Ondo has 15, maybe 15x. Aerodrome, it's hard to really tell on this one because it's still such a new project, but it's so integrated with Coinbase Ventures, likely somewhere on the low side, 7x. But I think in reality, probably in the 12 to 14x. Near Protocol, 8 to 11x. Stacks Protocol, depending on what happens with the DeFi layers on the Bitcoin narrative, I think this could do 7x, because remember, when you come over here and you look at stacks, let's see. That's not stacks. Hold on. I just did stack, STX. Stacks. This has $2.5 billion market cap. Okay, maybe, yeah. So yeah, maybe 7 to 12x, but this might only do a 5x if the DeFi layer doesn't really go. Injective, I think very solid as well. I think a lot of these are going to be in the 7 to 12x range. Chainlink, it's hard to say because this is so integrated into everything. This should 50x. I don't think it's going to 50x though. Why is that? Because of the market cap, but also I think there's still institutional players involved that I don't want to say there's price suppression, but they're not letting it run because of the utility that it has. I think that, I think this will $125, $130, something like that, and it's sitting here at where are we at? 1135 right now. So 10x. ASI, it's really hard to tell with this one, which essentially be FET. $6, maybe. Polkadot, somewhere in the, it's really hard to tell with Polkadot. Somewhere in the $12 range, $9 to $12 range. Render could be up there in the, I can't even guess with Render, but there's so much growth to be had in this. If this is about $100,000 here in the next, in the next week or so, and we're basically right at it, I'm expecting this to be somewhere in the $600,000 to $1 million range, depending on what happens in this market. Because remember, as bullish as we are, you never know what kind of regulation comes down. You never know what kinds of catastrophic world event comes down, because the market could be in absolute full swing and there could be a world catastrophe that cuts the bull market short. You never know. So this is also why you don't hold out into the ultimately highest point target that you hope to get, because you're going to end up with nothing. It's happened to me before. If it's happened to any of you before, that's fully round trip to cycle, throw one in chat. Let everybody else see that. Let's show some love to everybody. And I appreciate everybody that has been tuned in. Again, my name's Kelly Kellum. Welcome to the BitLab Academy. Thank you for being here. We're here on a daily basis. I love you all. I hope you all take advantage. This market is about to absolutely explode. I hope you all take advantage of the deal we have at BitLab Academy, lab.bitlabacademy.com/deal. You get 15 days free. You get in the Discord. We got a member stream today, another one tomorrow, another one throughout the rest of the week. If you're a BitLab member here on YouTube, you're going to make sure you're checking in to just below the screen. Actually, let me say this first. Make sure you're joining if you want the free traders group right here. The link is right here. It's also, I think I posted it on the, let me post it on the Twitter group right now. Let's come over here. Let's go to home. Let's go to the top directly below in the comments there. Join our free traders group. We just gave out another, I think $250 yesterday to somebody, another $50 to somebody for trading over $100,000 in volume. And remember, it doesn't take a lot to get the volume, but we also have all the trade signals, the setups, to take profits, and a wealth of free education that's going to be in there as well. But again, you can sign up for the deeper, full 120 classes there on that link you see right below the screen right there. And then also, again, we're doing all this. We want to make money. We want to protect that money. Let's do that. Make sure you are using the best crypto cold storage solution out there. Our channel partners, Arculus. Head over to getarculus.com. Use code LAB10, LAB10, LAB10 for 10% off at getarculus.com. The best crypto cold storage solution out there. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Everyone, we're going to make it this bull run. It's about to rip. Let's get it. We're going to head over to Blockchain Basement now. Show some love. Everybody drop in there. And when you get in there, what should we say on this one? Drop 3 lab coats and say, BitLab, bring in the vibes. Let's all go in there. Let's go flood the comments on Blockchain Basement. 3 lab coats and then say BitLab. I'm gonna type it right here. Let's see. You can just copy paste this. Hold on a second. You can just copy paste this. Boom, lab coat. So do 1, 2, 3, and you're gonna. God dang it. Everybody copy paste this, and then when we get over to Blockchain Basement, what happened to it? There you go. Copy paste that into the live chat over on Blockchain Basement. That's all I got. Adios. Adios, muchachos.